everyone, and welcome to the first of two webinars showcasing the winners of our 2016 IAB Europe Research Awards. I'm Alison Fenner, Executive Business Advisor at IAB Europe, and I'm going to host today's session. This is the fifth year of the IAB Europe Research Awards, and these are intended to recognise and celebrate the contribution made to the development of the industry by innovative research projects and the teams behind those projects. This is going to share winning case studies from our brand advertising effectiveness, digital format, advertising solutions, and audience measurement categories. The results form part of our mission to prove the value of digital advertising, and each year we see a marked increase in the quality and quantity of entries. So thank you to all people who participated this year. The webinar will last approximately 45 minutes, so 35 for the presentations and a 10-minute Q&A. So all of the case studies presented today will be available in the resources section of our website soon. If you share the live presentation with your colleagues, you'll be able to get the link of the webinar recording after the event, also on our website. So to start, let's take a moment to ensure that everyone's ready and familiar with the webinar control panel. You should see a control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. You can use the panel by clicking on the double arrow button in the upper left-hand corner and expand the panel by clicking the same button. Take a moment to practice that if you like. Also, that there is a chat panel and a Q&A panel. Submit any technical queries or issues to the chat panel. Claire is here to help with that. We've had a couple of technical issues today, so I'm hoping that things will go smoothly from now on. You can submit questions for the speakers using the Q&A panel located near the bottom of the control panel. We'll questions live during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And need attention during the session, you can get that by raising your hand and clicking the red exclamation mark icon just above the chat panel. So just technical issues submitted to the host in the chat panel and questions for the speakers in the Q&A panel. Okay, very much, and let's get going. So introducing to you Clark, who is Senior Project Manager Market Research at United Internet Media, and Pang, Head of Instagram Measurement and Insights EMEA at Facebook, Paul Hardcastle, Research Director EMEA at Yahoo, and Ella Weiss, Business Development Director at Gemius. So let's start off by welcoming Janine, who's going to tell us about their successful multi-screen storytelling campaign. Over to you, Janine.
Hello. So, yeah, thank you for the introduction. This is Janine. I'm from United Internet Media. And, so thank you from my side for taking part in this webinar. And in the next minutes, I'm going to tell you, or I'm going to show you something of our multi-screen storytelling case study. Here we go. As I just said, it's a multi-screen case study. So this case study contained 3 parts. Our client was Sky Deutschland. I will show you the 3 parts. So the step 1 of this campaign was, this step, just give me a moment. We delivered the campaign on all screens. So this was the multi-screen part. We showed the target group premium formats as a billboard, maxi ad, and a mobile content ad. And the target group saw an online video ad, and this ad was exactly the TV commercial. So the aim of the first step was to arouse curiousness. And we had a second step. We were using retargeting And in step 2, these users who have had contact with step 1 already had the chance to see a display ad. This display ad showed an excerpt from the video of step 1. We delivered the second step also on all screens, again with premium formats like billboard or maxi ad, and again a mobile content ad. And last but not least, we had a third step. Again, we were using retargeting, and this last step was more performance-oriented. That means the last motive contained product information, but also a call to action. Last step, we delivered an ad bundle only on big screen because our client told us that his target group apparently buys entertainment packages more often on big screen and not only on small screen. So that's the last step, obtained only big screen. So on the next slide, I show you the ads. Here you see the whole campaign. In step 1, we had the video ad that should generate curiosity. In step 2, the display ads should be a kind of reminder where we showed just an excerpt of the video ad from step 1. And in the last step, the performance-oriented creation, where the target group got all relevant information about the product. Everything was our true multi-screen targeting, which enabled, let's say, to close the gap between stationary and mobile profiles. So we, as United Internet Media, we can offer such a technology and therefore such a multi-screen storytelling concept because we have the login data of our users. So we know exactly if one user had already a mobile contact with a campaign, and then we are able to say, okay, in the next step we can show him a display contact on big screen, for example. So we have a user-based contact optimization and not a client-based one. And this is the reason why we can have a predefined order of ads and also devices. And this technology we were using in this Sky Deutschland campaign. And for us, the biggest challenge here was not the technology, but to predict the potential of users who will have contact with the whole campaign, to predict how many ad impressions we can deliver in a certain time frame and how many users we can reach with the last step. Yeah, but luckily, in the end, everything worked out. Additionally to the campaign, we also had a research study. In the next slide, I will show you the results. And our multi-screen technology was also helpful for the research study. So we could also see how many contacts a respondent had with a certain ad, but also on a certain device. And concerning the research study, another challenge for us was to gain enough respondents. I mean, that's always a challenge when you conduct a study, but here we had these different steps, and we had to make sure that gain enough respondents for each step. But because we have a very high reach on our websites, in the end we were able to gain a valid size of sample for each campaign step. On this, we see an excerpt of the study results. On that side, we can see the aided ad recall, and because it's Sky Deutschland, there was already a high base level for aided ad recall, but also for the aided brand awareness. Nearly 77% already remembered advertisement for Sky. But what one sees is that in every step we were able to increase the aided ad recall. On the right side, even though the base level was already high, we can see that the brand awareness of Sky Deutschland was already nearly 90% in the beginning, and also this value could be increased with every campaign step. More important, especially for our client, for Sky, was the shopping cart share. Also, the shopping cart share could be increased by every campaign step. That means the number of unique users who added one of the Sky Deutschland offers to their shopping cart after they had contact with the campaign. So I mentioned before, our true multi-screen technology was also used for the shopping cart analysis. So that enabled us to see which device combinations led to our shopping cart share. In general, we can see that with every campaign step, the shopping cart share could be increased. For us, the best result is on the right side. We can see that those who have had the maximum of multi-screen contacts had the highest shopping cart share with 0.86%. That means that all these users who had at least one big and one small screen contact in step 1 and 2, we remember step 3 was just delivered on big screen, they had the biggest or the highest shopping cart share. For us, this is the confirmation that in the end it is very important to reach the target group both on big and small screen, and in the best case with a good story. So in this campaign had a really good story, and in the end that led to a maximum of effectiveness both in brand awareness but also in purchase activation. Yeah, the most important results for now.
Thanks much, Janine. So now hand over to Andy, for he presents the case. Welcome, Andy. Hi there.
Great that you can hear me now. Yes, let me introduce myself very quickly as you move this over. I think actually I need to do that, so let me do that. Yes, hi everyone. My name's Andy Pang. I work for the Instagram part of Facebook based in London, and one of the key things that I responsible for is to really understand the audience and provide a lot of information around the platform and an understanding of it. So let me just go back a little bit and just talk about the app itself, for those that may not be too familiar. The app was launched about 5 years ago by the founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger in San Francisco. Those that are familiar with it will realize that actually one of the USPs of the product in its earlier days was this concept of having great photography with filters. Often the images were of a square dimension, so a 1 by 1 dimension, and that's the product that was kind of initially where it started, and it's evolved over the years, over the last 5.5 years really, to where it is today. Now, Facebook acquired Instagram only after about 18 months of launch. So in April 2012, it was acquired by Facebook for actually about $1 billion in cash and stock. So as a platform with over 15 employees, it certainly had a lot to do coming into Facebook at that point of its kind of growth and life stage. So at the time, going back a few years, so going back to 2012, it didn't actually make any money in terms of commercial advertising. One of the things that I was responsible for doing, and this research associated with it, was to really kind of pave the way for stronger interest in the market in the Europe, Middle East and Africa region to set itself up commercially for monetization. So to talk to you about the research that we did. Now, we obviously know that Instagram is such a we know that it's a very unique app. After the acquisition, as I mentioned, we need to think more about the monetization of the product, something that we kind of spent a lot of time thinking about and looking at the competitive and increasingly crowded marketplace. It was very important for us to provide more information to the commercial advertising teams to differentiate Instagram. This was kind of the key thing that I was trying to do. Now, in terms of the project itself and the submission for digital ad formats category within the IAB Europe Awards was this concept called the Instagram effect. So I partnered with a UK insights and strategy agency called Sparkler, and we conducted some research in UK, France and Germany of around 3,000 respondents. The work I'm going to talk about now, which actually is a subset of the overall project, is called the Instagram effect. effect, and it's just done in the UK as a market. So the Instagram effect is just something that was born, I think actually was something that the press industry has done very well in previous years, but this is the whole concept of what an image is seen and its environment has a big impact on what people take out of it. So the Instagram effect was something that we're using a technique called monadic split cell test. I think the image reproduction here, sadly, actually didn't quite come too well, but on the top it should say monadic split cell test. So see, what we did is we had images, identical images, rendered for the respondent identically, or at least in a way that each respondent or user of each of those platforms actually see the image. Any kind of feed or the scroll or the home environment of each of those platforms. So you'll see in front of you right now are 5 different platforms that we tested against. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Pinterest. We had 300 respondents within our sample that were regular users of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And we created a kind of a feed that they were to test and scroll and kind of interact with. And then after testing, we asked them a series of questions regarding the images they just saw. So the categories that we looked at, as you can see here, are from scrolling slide to slide. This would be classified as the fashion kind of element in terms of photography. The next one would be travel. So you see a beach scene. And then the last one is automotive. So in each of these scenarios, we've basically asked people to scroll through their feed. These 3 images will be scrolled upon through their feed with other imagery available as well. So this is where the monadic split cell comes in. So each of the respondents would only see one platform, associated images within that platform. And then after that exercise, essentially what we do is we ask people about their experience in seeing those images. So again, looking at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Pinterest, we would ask them to extent on a 10-point rating scale. They would think or deem the creatives that they just saw, for the in the red dress or the automobile or the beach scene, how much would they think that was cool or high quality or inspiring? So there's a method just used to try and tease out the kind of impact that each of those identical creators had upon the respondent or the kind of consumer as we look at it from that point of view. Initially, what we did is we tried to tease out those differences, and this is what the sub-data that came out of it. So people that were using Instagram and were in the Instagram kind of test cell that only saw the Instagram imagery, actually, if you compare that to the collective or the aggregate Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Pinterest, the Instagram respondents were actually 2.8 times more likely to say that that identical image was imaginative. So 2.8 times in terms of more imaginative, 2.8 times in terms of more distinctive, times more creative, and then 1.5 times more inspiring, and also seen as a cooler image than when you compare it against the other 4 platforms that we did there. So we tested this across 10 different statements, and all of the statements actually we found favorably for Instagram was that it was deemed as being more positively associated with that. So we basically felt that there was this Instagram effect where the environment really elevates the experience. And this was really useful for us because we utilized this in a lot of our material to the market, but also it gave our product teams more confidence to push forward with new ad formats. And that's kind of the next couple of slides that I'll just illustrate. We went ahead and from a platform that had 0 ad revenue, we were able to open up the platform heavily and very quickly to monetize using different formats, so photo, video, and carousel that you see here. And also we had the confidence in ourselves to actually measure the impact of the campaign using test and control methodology. So we up the platform to polling techniques using Nielsen, Milround, or even our own first-party polling methodology, which actually has a kind of an overlay that invites people to take part in surveys. Using test and control methodology, we can measure for our advertising clients all the campaigns that ran on the platform around the launch period. And essentially the data that we got back from that, again, utilizing some of the work through Instagram effect or the presenter effect, showed that actually ad recall on the platform was immensely strong. So 98% of the 700 campaigns that we've measured so far have been positive and significant uplifts in ad recall. When you compare that to what Nielsen typically sees on other online platforms, we compare that to what Nielsen published, then it's about 3.8 times more in terms of an impact than what we see in Nielsen. And essentially, we're also seeing 1.7 times greater brand awareness scores through advertising on Instagram as well. So essentially, the research that we did around the presenter effect allowed us really to forge forward with our advertising and commercial platform that we do here. I mean, just to leave you with some final thoughts, that was a really kind of influential piece of research that in the industry and informed the market about what Instagram does, and was there this thing that was particularly intangible but difficult to measure, but we found out that actually not all digital ad impressions are identical. The media environment essentially plays a big part on how brands and images are perceived, and the technique, as I say, we used was monadic split cell testing, and that allowed us to tease that out. So the Instagram effect really, as a summary, really has the ability to elevate the consumer and brand experience. The independent research really helped us measure this, and as I said already, it's kind of very influential in a lot of our materials. And then the final point is, in terms of the measurement that we're doing and the way that we're advising clients, it's about applying branding measurement for branding campaigns. That's a fairly obvious thing. So to use sales ROI and for performance and direct response campaigns. So just a final thought in terms of how we're approaching the whole measurement thing, but this is certainly all that was born out of the entry around the Instagram effect. So I'll get there. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. We've got a few questions building up there, which we will save for the end so that we answer all of those together. So now we're passing over to Paul from Yahoo, who should be ready to introduce himself and give us his presentation. Hello, Paul.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
We can, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. No problem. Thanks, Alison. I'm Paul Hardcastle. I lead up the team as Research Director across the EMEA region. And this is a piece of thought leadership research that we ran with an agency regarding content marketing. And we know that content marketing is sort of a key thing for Yahoo. It's one of their key sort of strengths currently. And what we're focused on here are what the key influences that drive impact through content marketing, and consequently, how should we look to create both great content and measure it? So just as a bit of background as to where this study sort of came to fruition, we know that branded content opportunities are still not being fully still not realising their full potential, despite the belief in the content marketing challenge that we see here. And from Smart Insights, which is a study that was independent to Yahoo, this just proves out this effect where 68% of marketers say the adoption of content marketing has been poor. Also, measurement is a major hurdle. So I argue that with technology enhancements, the measurement of content marketing is going to get harder, not easier. This is at the heart of what we wanted to try and solve. Provides an audience-led guide to deliver best-in-class content marketing in a measurable, actionable way. And you can see the three objectives that we had here were to understand what factors drive best content marketing experiences, to create a playbook of how to deliver the best content marketing for marketers, and to create a measurement model to calculate the ROI value of content marketing from a consumer's perspective. So how did we go about that? There were three key phases across the UK, Germany, France and Italy. Not all phases were done in each market, but at phase 3, all four markets were involved. So we have a partnership with the Marketing Society. So we did expert interviews with them at a breakfast with 25 of the UK top brands to understand their concepts around content marketing and what the issues are. We did focus groups and online blogs, semiotics analysis to understand the visual clues that can lead to inspiration, and then finally in phase 3 a 4-market advanced statistical analysis to understand what content marketing brand attributes drive return on investment that we see. So just a quick slide from the CMO perspective and sort of one of our expert interviews, who was Claire Enders. we interviewed her and a few others from the sort of leading edge of content marketing. And what we see is this a content opportunity out there for both consumers and brands. And it became considered a seesaw relationship between these two, consumers and brands. So we built out this concept of having old world rules for this relationship and then new world rules, which offers an opportunity to talk to consumers through content marketing. And we see this relationship being a new transaction where brands can respond to consumers in return for them driving the brand conversation forward. And then, if you look at this, content marketing then becomes a credible vehicle for facilitating this new world brand relationship. We have much more detail on this, but I just wanted to cover that as a sort of point as we move forward through the presentation. So let's get to the main sort of section of the research. And at the heart of the research was an advanced statistical analysis called CHAID analysis, C-H-A-I-D, if you can't understand my accent, but it's which is derived from regression modelling, and allowed us to model out which influences are most likely to drive purchase, drive positive feelings towards a brand, and advocate the sharing of content. And we did this across 1,000 consumers in the UK, Germany, France, and Italy. And there were a number of questions related to the content that we showed them. This sort of concept allows us to delve in and understand key drivers of the factors which drive content impact, and the differences you can see on the different factors you can see that we asked on these content marketing pieces you see here. There's about 20 different factors here that we asked consumers on different pieces of content marketing. But let's remember that there's a multitude of influences that marketers can aim for in delivering content marketing in which consumers can feel like they're having a great content experience. So again, we tested each of these attributes against the content that we showed to consumers. For example, does this content marketing help you learn new things? Is it topical? Is it impacting your everyday life? Or how beautiful does it look? But to understand this, we use the CHAID analysis to understand which are unlocking marketing impact. Here, well, the clue is in the title. As a content marketer, you have to decide which stories to tell to be most effective. Research shows across the board that the highest return on your content marketing will come when your content is classed as inspirational. Data that the baseline looks at across the 3 marketing objectives that we chose are users rating content on good to purchase, positive about that brand, and the likelihood to share this content. And this provided us with a baseline of 37, 36, and 41% respectively when they viewed this best-in-class content marketing that we showed to them. And across all 3 objectives, when we add in the metric to inspire to try new things, the potential multiplier effect of that content marketing is significantly increased. So when we look at all these 3 objectives, the purchase intent, the brand affinity, and the advocacy, the one attribute that you must have is to inspire consumers across your content marketing. And when we add this into the mix, you can see there's an effect of 1.84 for brand affinity, an increase to 1.75 for intent, 1.75 for brand affinity, and 1.76 for advocacy. And what's fascinating about this is that all 3 marketing objectives, even very different approaches, and they used very different executions in the examples that we showed. The ability to inspire to try new things across the board was the one thing which stood out through the CHAID analysis. So the inspiration isn't the only factor when you come into this. There are additional factors which come into play when understanding what is driving the 3 marketing objectives, and this can be seen here. When we dig into the data a little more, we can see what role other influences played. It's interesting to see that different objectives provided different direction beyond the foundation of inspiration for marketers to deliver great content marketing. For example, if you look at purchase intention, if you evoke a strong feeling and make them feel close to the brand, you'll see further uplift. And also for brand affinity and advocacy, you'll see the different scores there. They all add to this potential multiplier effect. So providing across each of the 3 marketing objectives, you'll see over 2 times the effect when you specifically stir emotions in a consumer. When we pulled that information together from all the research research that we've seen, we pulled together a playbook, a best practice for content marketing. And we don't have to go into the detail now, but in the slides I can send more detail around. So how to inspire your brand through content marketing. And we had 6 sort of key theories that we wanted to reach out, or 6 key themes that we wanted to bring across to consumers and to advertisers. And these were: your aesthetic, your content, knowledge empowers, tell real compelling stories, showing positive intent, with there's no inspiration, and keep your entertainment simple. So through these 6 steps, you can create a toolkit to ensure you are delivering on content that hits key influencers. Just in summary, this is obviously a very quick case of this research, but if the key message is that you can inspire your consumers with the content and follow these 6 steps, you will be able to drive marketing impact across your marketing objectives, whatever they may be. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. I must say everybody today is being very timely with their presentation. So
7 minutes.
fantastic.
7 minutes time.
Very timely, and time later for the difficult questions, Paul. So now I'm going to hand over to Attila from Genius.
Thank you very
Hi,
much. Does
Attila.
it mean that I have 15 or 20 minutes even?
Fifteen minutes, okay.
Okay.
So do you have control of the slides?
Yeah, so I can move on.
Well, just tell everybody who you are and then carry on. Thanks very much.
Definitely. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Attila Weiss, representing Game News. Game News is strong in audience measurement. We have other digital services around, but let's focus on audience measurement in this session. Let me tell you an exciting story, how Games changes a fundamental pillar of internet audience measurement. And this is the delivery cycle of a full, final, and complete data set for the market, to jigs or to market players. Let's do a little look back. You know, currently, if you look around in different markets, what you see is that the delivery cycle standard in most of the markets is monthly best. In markets, it's even less frequent. In some markets, it's quarterly or half-yearly period that you can receive internet audience measurement results for the market. However, in the last few years, a decade even, there are a lot of changes happening. First of all, traffic grew immensely. If you compare 2004 monthly users versus 2015 daily users, it's the same number. So it means a multiple times users on a daily level. That's one of the big push towards changing the current monthly cycle methodology. Another push is that both publishers and agencies advertisers need faster decisions for content management, competition analysis purposes, or paying optimization purposes. Third important push to change monthly cycle for us was TV measurement. TV audience measurement is delivered usually overnight in most of the markets. And when it comes to incremental reach calculation, TV across online, it's very hard to fuse daily TV data with monthly internet data. It would be much better to have overnight daily data set for online media as well. So these are the triggers for Game News to start working on a new methodology, switching from monthly cycle to overnight cycle. In the monthly cycle, we are very used to the hybrid methodology, which we pioneered to develop since 2003, combine site-centric, user-centric, and population data. Like 2 years ago, in 2014, took a challenge of investing time, energy, and IT capability to develop an overnight cycle, delivery cycle, It took 2 years to complete it by 2016. It's a very fresh product, out of the oven. You'll see how it works. The objective was to put all features from monthly cycle measurement included already in the overnight cycle. There are several building blocks of the methodology that we needed to settle before we start delivering test results. One block or one element is the so-called browser ID. This is a unique identifier which incorporates several actually three components: first-party cookie, third-party cookie, and browser-related local storage information. It helps follow net usage in the era of non-cookie traffic. This is a fundamental building block. Another was BEAST, Best Estimation Algorithm Standard, to predict good browsers, which is a fundamental element of a real user calculation in our methodology. The third important component is the so-called BPS, Behavioral Panel Synthesis methodology, which helps deduplicate internet usage across multi-platform as well as cookie software panels. These three components we needed to settle before we jump into overnight production, and also in order to speed up production of the data, it took a very brave and very action, I would say, that is implementation of stream management tool into our site-centric tool, Games Prism. The thing is that users can themselves update audience tree, as often as they want, with our strict quality control, of course, everyday quality control. And there's no more, sending information in emails or Jira or any other format. This is now integrated in a single place use. With these components, we set up a production cycle. Looks like, as you can see it on the screen right now, reporting day. There are preparation work done. It's left-hand side. First of all, we need to make sure that the three final are abiding by the rules that we agreed on with the market. We need to do the panel selection for the given reporting day. Also need to define the daily population, which is not defined, of course, in structural studies because they come usually at a monthly or even quarterly level. And to control site-centric data, very high site-centric data for iframe, auto-refresh, other features and tools. With all these actions on the reporting day, calculation starts at midnight right away. Our servers manage to calculate an initial audience results in a few hours. And by 6 o'clock in the morning, we have the full set of data ready. The data goes through internal quality control right after that, followed by local quality control by joint industry committees or even market players. And publication happens 2 p.m. The which I'm presenting is coming from Poland. We developed it in our homeland, Poland, for the Polish market. It's already in place, and we are already rolling it out in additional countries that I will show you. But before that, let me explain what it means, final and complete data. Well, final means that whenever we deliver it 2 p.m., a final full data set for the previous day, we don't change it. This is a preview. This is final data set. And complete meaning that it has all the components listed here on the screen. So it's information on both tagged and tagged content. So for those who understand it better, like this, cookie and software panel both used. It's got multi-platform in it, which is 6+1 platform, 6 meaning desktop, desktop home, desktop work, as well as mobile smartphone, mobile tablet. And +1 is the total platform, the total panel created by BPS methodology. Just in brackets, we have a new home and work multi-location model. It's based on data and IP analysis. It's a very exciting one. If you're interested, we can also talk about that in a separate session. Just contact us, please. And in terms of content, we've got webs covered in the research, mobile applications, stream, including video and audio. So this is what we mean by complete data set delivered overnight. And final, we mean it. We don't publish it as preliminary. This is final data set. As I mentioned, the solution, overnight methodology, Game Use Audience overnight, has been already rolled out in Poland as official JIC currency since May. Last week, we published May data set doing this methodology. And just in brackets, we first delivered over the first version back in July 2015, and by now, June 2016, we can say it's ready, fully ready. We are ready to adapt it to other markets. Other markets which are on the list and are coming in the upcoming months, include Croatia, Czech Republic, Serbia, Belgium, Ukraine, and fully Turkey as well. So this Game Use Audience overnight methodology in a nutshell. Of course, there's much more to it. It's a topic. So those who are interested, please contact us and we can go into more details.
Thank you very much, Attila. To open up for questions, and you can see here on the screen that if further questions you have that aren't answered today, please either let myself or Claire know. Start off with a specific question for Paul, which has come in about classifying content marketing types in order to deliver specific creative to them.
How do we
allow you to do that?
Pardon?
Classify the content in terms of the content objectives. So, say for example, the objective is to inform or inspire, for example. Do you have a content classification system for that?
So basically, what the content marketing that we tested came from both consumers and sort of experts in the industry. So right. it was a cross section of. So we'd have specific, have a number per vertical. It was like to try and get a broad, because with the trade analysis, you need a lot of sample to be able to, to run through the model. And basically what we had was sort of like best-in-class content marketing that consumers had seen in the diaries. So they sent us the best, and then best-in-class content marketing, and from what experts had seen as well. So we just chose a wide range of, of different categories and different executions, basically.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just follow on with another question on that. So what, just to keep you on the spot, what was the key learning for, just to use one key learning for how brands should use content marketing in the future for building brand experience? What do you think that would be?
I think that, the slides that we haven't shown here, obviously, but there's the key things which I think the purchase funnel is probably the key one that we've noticed. That rather than putting people down the purchase funnel and interacting with them at different stages of that funnel, the fact with content marketing, you can build a relationship with that consumer, and they will build loyalty, and they will build an affinity with your brand when they're ready to purchase that product. So you will be top of mind, when a purchase is made. So you can push news or you can push personal relevant content to them, whilst the decision making is in process. So it's more 360, a rounded approach rather than just people off at different sections of the funnel, I would say.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you. So I think that sort of a fun question for Andy. Following on from that, in terms of Instagram as primarily a mobile first service. So what would you add to that, Andy, in terms of what mobile can offer for brand engagement? I'm thinking in particular about purchase funnels and linear purchase funnels. Was there anything that you picked up on that from your research?
Yeah, I think there's lots of evidence that we've collected over the last few years that we've had Instagram advertising commercial kind of opportunities. I think the main thing, and I think it's probably often been talked about in the industry, but the shift towards mobile has been so drastic in the last couple of years. We're seeing like an increasing amount of time and just touch points throughout the day, just in the hundreds to thousands, really. So, as an opportunity for brands to insert themselves into daily lives, mobile is by far the biggest opportunity at the moment. And I think I've been looking at the property we have on our side of the fence, so within Facebook. I kind of alluded to it a little while during the presentation anyway, but there are photo opportunities from a commercial point of view. Video is increasingly becoming a big part of our offering as well, and what we see from some of the data that we're collecting is that I think we've seen probably a 75 to 80% year-on-year growth in the number of videos that are viewed on Facebook. So it's certainly a behaviour that consumers are really kind of comfortable with and interacting with. So brands can definitely pick their material and their content from other platforms, whether it be traditional TV or other online channels as well, and kind of utilise other platforms, digital platforms, to reach people via the mobile. So we do think that there is a huge opportunity here. I suppose in some ways, some of the evidence that we've had through clients' activities is it is still not, there are still advertisers that aren't quite getting the creative in the right way. The format is very, I suppose, what we often say at Facebook is the fun is really arbiter of whether a campaign is successful or not. So the behaviour of someone in their news feed is very, very critical. So people can scroll past your content very quickly. So getting video right for brand building purposes in mobile is in some ways very different to the way that TV creatives are built. Creatives typically have a intro, maybe a reveal of the brand at the very end. But what we're finding through our research is that it's very, very important to give the user of the platform or the feed-based platform on mobile a clear understanding of what they're interacting with, what they're spending their time with. Otherwise, you scrolled away with a thumb very, very quickly. So that's just a bit of learning that we're seeing, but definitely the opportunity is there, and that it opens a slight audience to maybe more traditional media channels, that is, but I'm sure everyone is aware of that.
Yes. So a lot to learn for the brands, especially with creative, in terms of developing that, I guess, right at the beginning of the campaign and making sure the tools are in place. And also learning, understanding the different implications of being able to effectively through the day as well, was one thing you mentioned there. Let's go on to Janine. Janine, from the research that you've done this time round, did it change your perceptions of what how brands should be using digital for brand building?
I think nowadays brands should know and consider the habits of the target group better than ever, because target groups have many possibilities to get in contact with several brands. And for online, for example, we have different devices which people are using. And I think because of the use of this technology, target groups also have high demands. So I think on advertisement should have a high quality because users are faced with a high amount of ads in their everyday life. And and also it's not only the quality, but also online advertisement should be adjusted on each screen, so that on all you can reach the target group wherever they are with high quality advertisement.
Okay, thank you. So I think we've taken a kind of broad look at different factors of brand advertising, and I think it's really interesting to end up back with Attila thinking about how daily reporting is going to change the way that brands and agencies plan. So from what you've seen so far, Attila, what's the impact that this is having on business of media planning, and how are brands and agencies changing?
Well, in a way, audience measurement or content audience measurement has been behind, ad measurement and ad capabilities measurement. If you think about programmatic real-time bidding, and with this new way of delivering data, audience data is becoming relevant again because it enables both publishers and agencies, and I would like to focus more on publishers at the moment, to analyze, judge content, editorial goals much faster than they were able in the past. Why did my sports content attract less 18-39 male citizens yesterday when there was a match on, and why my competitor managed to increase their share of audience? That's one of the very relevant consequences of overnight audience data. Also, agencies, when they were planning campaigns or brands were planning campaigns and buying campaigns, they used 1 to 3 months old data to predict basically future behavior of online audiences for the next 1 or 2 months. Which means like a 3-4 months of a span and 3-4 months old data. With overnight, they can change ongoing campaigns. They can optimize campaign faster. Let alone later on, they are able to leverage on standard audience currency in some format. Advertising solutions. Audience is integrated with advertising solutions, marketing solutions.
Okay, so more opportunity, but more work needing to be done by the agencies and brands to capitalize on that opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, it's also inevitable. And I would like to just one more thing. There's a topic of cross-media measurement, especially TV, online, incremental reach. Now we have a chance for TV publishers to actually measure and show the real reach of a content and the reach of an ad within that content to agencies and advertisers.
Thanks. So, lastly, do any of the panelists have any questions for each other, or have you all answered all of each other's questions with patience today? Just about done then. So, thanks so much to our panelists, Paul, Andy, and Janine, for their presentations today. You can download the research projects from our website and also share the webinar recording, which is going to be available on the website as well. So please provide some feedback at the end of the survey. And also our next webinar will be on the 6th of July, which will present the remainder of the research winners of our awards this year. So thank you very much for attending, and look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.